My name is Morelli, and I live in Seabright, and our house was destroyed in October by Hurricane Sandy. Where we're standing right now was my grandmother's bedroom, and unfortunately it had to be torn down because we had lost a couple sill plates in our home. We lost everything. We lost our contents. We had to move out. We're still out of our house. We're lucky that we're able to rent down the street so we can watch the progress of our house being rebuilt. We have 5.5 feet of water, and that's where it settled, but at one point it was higher. It was over our front door, causing our whole ceilings to be soaked in water as well. We didn't get it to the second floor, thankfully, so our stuff on the second floor was okay, but the whole entire house had to be gutted from upstairs to downstairs. I walked down to the town borough hall and asked what I needed to fill out in order to start elevating our home, and the first thing I did was a zoning permit, but to hand that in I had to get an elevation certificate stating how high we had to go and what our elevation was. So I called out to AVH Elevation and had them do that, and they came out, did the specs for the house. I handed in the zoning permit, got that approved. I had to get my electrician to fill out a permit, a plumber to do our heating, and a construction permit, which I did. And I signed off on it, and they were approved. They said the process, they'll lift it up, and that takes 1 day, but the masonry will come in, it'll take 2 weeks, and the house has to be back down on the new foundation within 45 days. Our elevation would be 15 feet. We're going 10 feet plus 2 additional feet, so we're in the proper range, so our insurance will not go skyrocket. And it'll be a long road for inside to recover. It's a shell, so we still have to do flooring, walls, kitchen cabinets, everything. Everything has to be completely replaced. And I just was proactive. I wanted to get my family back in our house that we're paying a mortgage on, because now we have the mortgage and the rent, and it's really hard for families to survive on that. Wolf Builders is elevating the home, and Jay Kennedy is our fantastic masonry guy, and Mike Gilligan is the one who's going to rebuild our structure in the back and our front porch. We're using smart vents, and I googled flood vents up online, and smart vents were the first ones that came up, and they were ICC approved. I reached out to Smart Vent and asked them, being we needed so many, if they could possibly help us with getting the vents. That's what we're using in our foundation. And today's our big day. We're getting it lifted, and it was a long road to get to this point, but we're finally here and I'm excited.
What is the objective of a flood vent? Flood vents are required to relieve hydrostatic pressure from foundation walls and walls of other enclosures below the base flood elevation by allowing flood water and debris to flow through the space. During a flood, there can be lateral forces, buoyancy forces, and saturated soil pressures, which all need to be considered during the design of the space. Careful attention is needed to make sure the vents being utilized as flood openings will provide the needed flood protection for the space. Common air vents, also known as non-engineered openings, have louvers, grills, and screens that impede the flow of floodwater and also trap debris, which clogs the opening. When floodwater is not able to flow through the opening, hydrostatic pressure builds up on the foundation walls and garage doors, which can cause catastrophic collapse, totally compromising the structural integrity of the home. Now check out how smart vents are protecting the Morelli residents.
So we're here at the Morelli residence, and the house is now lifted up on a full height foundation wall. Inside is going to be used for parking and storage, and we're ready to install the flood vents to protect the foundation from hydrostatic pressure during the next flood event. So what we're going to do is start by removing the flood door out of our vent frame by just simply sliding it up and out of the track of the frame itself. So what we're going to do is prepare our vent frame to be installed into our foundation opening. As you can see, we're obviously within 12 inches of the grade level, so everything's in compliance. So we're just going to bend that to the 12-inch mark that you see right there, past 90 degrees, and we'll put them to the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those straps that we just bent, and we're going to ratchet them into the back of the vent frame. Those teeth right there are what we are ratcheting inside the slots. And you can actually hear it click in. And then the next step is we're going to take adhesive, and we recommend a brand of adhesive called Lexel. Really good stuff. It's clear, okay? It dries clear, it is paintable. Will even adhere to a wet surface, but it gives you a nice good bond. So we'll run a bead of adhesive around that entire 1-inch flange. And just simply install this strap. Now that the vent frame is secure inside the foundation wall, we're going to come in and reinstall our flood door inside the vent frame. What you're going to do is line up the pit on the right and the left of the vent door with the slots on the vent frame. And then that simply just slides into that track. You can see that we have clearance on both sides to allow the flood door to pivot inside and then outside. And then once you get it in place, the floats are going to drop down inside the vent frame and lock the door in place. So you can't bang it open. It only is activated with flood water. Now that the door's in place, we're going to take the included security clips that are going to slide into the track of the vent frame, and this is going to prevent the flood door from floating out during a flood event. What we'll do is we just simply squeeze the clips and then slide them into the slot on the left, and they'll snap in for you. And now she's done. So Smart Vent is an engineered opening, and all of our vents have been certified, performance tested through the International Code Council Evaluation Service. They have acceptance criteria for automatic foundation flood vents. And part of the performance testing is that the flood opening needs to allow for debris to flow through, specifically a 3-inch diameter ball. And debris is just a fact of flood. You're not going to have crystal clear flood water. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to activate the floats inside the flood door by utilizing 2 business cards. We'll simulate a flood. Flood water will rise around your foundation. We're going to relieve the pressure. When the floats release, okay, water fills the slots, the floats lift up with buoyancy. Now the door is in a open position. Because there's no screen, there's no louver to impede the flow, our coefficient of discharge is greater than what a non-engineered air vent is. And we meet that 3-inch requirement that the ICC has in place for their acceptance criteria for flood vents. And Okay, and that 3-inch diameter sphere is going to be able to pass through that opening. So it's a much more efficient opening. One of the other flood venting requirements is the vent needs to be bidirectional, so it's going to let water in and then also flip the other way and let it back out. All automatic, truly passive release. And then back into the closed position.
Don't give up. It's a slow process. Just keep moving forward and make the changes to keep your family safe, and just don't give up, because there are times that you want to, because it's tough. It's not easy, especially when you can't be here and you're keeping up another household and then you're trying to fix the one that you pay a mortgage on. So just don't give up.